Hi, boys and girls. Teacher Laura here. It's story time, and we have a great book to read this week. It's called The Biggest Pumpkin Ever. That's the title of the book, boys and girls. And this is the front cover, the spine, and the back cover. The illustrator is Jeannie Bassett, and the author is Stephen Kroll. But before we read the book, boys and girls, I would like to show you our vocabulary words. It's important to know what our words are that are in the book so that you know what they mean. You know what this one is, pumpkin. Pumpkins are very popular during the fall season. Pumpkin. Jack-o'-lantern. A jack-o'-lantern is what a pumpkin turns into when you carve it. Jack-o'-lantern. Sugar. We put just a little bit of sugar in some of our foods so that they taste sweeter. Sugar. Grow. This is how pumpkins grow, to small, medium, and large. Grow. Fertilizer is a soil that has different ingredients in there to help your plants grow bigger and nice and fresh. Fertilizer. And the blanket. Blanket. We all have our favorite blanket. Blanket. Those are the vocabulary words, boys and girls. Let's open up our book and get started to read, okay? Let's read the story. Here's the first page. Once there were two mice who fell in love with the same pumpkin. Clayton, the house mouse, noticed it one day in the vegetable garden. It was still little and green, but Clayton thought he could make it grow really big. It might even get big enough to win the grand prize at the town pumpkin contest. Desmond, the field mouse, discovered the pumpkin the same day. He thought that if he helped it grow, it could become the biggest jack-o'-lantern in the neighborhood. They both had great ideas, didn't they? That afternoon, Clayton wanted the pumpkin. He also mixed up some fertilizer of manure and water. He spread the mixture around the pumpkin to make it grow larger. That very same night, Desmond went into the garden too. He watered the pumpkin too, and he also spread some manure mixed with water around it. They both have great ideas, don't they? They're thinking alike. The next day, Clayton watered and fertilized the pumpkin again. The next night, Desmond did the same. And the pumpkin began to grow right on the vine. By the end of the month, the pumpkin was so large, Clayton couldn't believe his eyes. He was thinking, wow, this is working. Look at that. It is getting bigger and bigger. Pretty happy. My goodness, said Clayton's mother, and it's not even full grown yet. Clayton shrugged. All I do is water it, he said. Clayton's mother whispered in his ear, if you want the pumpkin to grow bigger, faster, she said, you should use some sugar water. That night, Desmond brought his brother Morris to see the pumpkin too. Morris knew everything there was to know about growing things. That's some pumpkin, he said. Desmond shrugged. All I do is water it, he said. Morris whispered in his ear. You should try using sugar water, he said. They both had sugar water in mind to make it bigger. So the next day, Clayton dug a small hole beside the pumpkin vine. In the hole, he placed a bowl full of sugar water. It cut into the vine a few inches from the pumpkin. In the cut, he put one end of a piece of a candle wick. Then he put the other end in the bowl of sugar water. That night, on the other side of the pumpkin, Desmond did exactly the same thing. Within a week, the pumpkin was twice the size it had been. Within 2 weeks, it was absolutely enormous. Wow, look at that. They both went to look at their pumpkin and they both said, wow, this is great. Clayton was amazed. He ran down the road and peeked into his friend Jimmy's pumpkin patch. The pumpkin Jimmy was growing for the contest looked much smaller. Clayton scratched his head. I have made an amazing pumpkin, he said out loud, and I think I'm going to win the contest. That night, Desmond and his brother Morris spent a long time looking at the pumpkin. How do you think it got that big? Desmond asked. Morris just shrugged. A little luck, a little skill. It's going to make some jack-o'-lanterns, said Desmond. It sure is, said Morris. What do you predict's going to happen next, boys and girls? That's great. Think. And let me know when we see each other in Zoom. A week later, Clayton noticed the pumpkin was bigger than the family car. During the day, everyone he knew came by to admire it. And at night, all the field mice gathered round to do the same. We're going to stop here at this page, boys and girls. Miss Laura has her little marker right here. I hope you're enjoying the story, and let's think about what might happen with the next few pages. Have a good day. Bye. Enjoy.